It's yet another day with the world's focus on crisis-stricken Zimbabwe. As South African leaders are meeting in Lusaka for an emergency summit, Gordon Brown has strongly criticised the actions of the Mugabe regime.
The democratic rights of the Zimbabwean people have got to be respected. They have voted. The presidential election results have not been announced. We cannot wait any longer for the announcement of these results. It is in the interests of Zimbabwe's future that President Mugabe and the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission publish these results. There's now a meeting of the SADC group, which has been monitoring the election in Zambia today. I think it's important that we're vigilant about what happens after that. But the international community will look to Zimbabwe for a declaration of elections, and if there is to be a future election, that there's proper international monitoring of what's going on. It's appalling if there is intimidation and violence. It's completely unacceptable. And the whole eyes of the world are upon Zimbabwe now.
The Prime Minister reiterated that it was of absolute importance to publish the election results as soon as possible. His comments come amid growing concerns that the post-election situation might soon turn violent.
I think because the eyes of the world are upon Zimbabwe, and because people know that elections have taken place and results haven't been published, there is huge and growing pressure on the Zimbabwean government and the Zimbabwean authorities to make sure that elections that have been held have results that are then declared, and the winners eventually can secure their democratic right to hold office. I think the SADC group, which is the South Africans themselves that have been monitoring the elections, now have a responsibility to advise on what they think happened and suggest what they believe must happen in the future. And I think all Zimbabwean parties should abide by what they say.
Robert Mugabe is not attending the summit and instead has sent a delegation of ministers from his ZANU-PF party. In a defensive move, Mr Mugabe has issued an angry reply to the Prime Minister, calling him a little tiny dot on this world. Tensions are running high and it seems Mugabe's options are getting fewer. Whatever the outcome of the meeting today, a solution to this Zimbabwean crisis looks to be weeks, if not months away. In the shadows of the events, Gordon Brown has reminded people of the ongoing conflict in Darfur, which after 5 years is still unresolved.
Darfur is a continuing tragedy, despite all the efforts of the United Nations, with a resolution last August, with more troops going in as peacekeepers. There is still violence on the ground. 50,000 people have been displaced in the last few weeks. And of course there is famine, as well as torture, rape, and violence and killings that are completely unacceptable. What we need now to happen is, first of all, that the peace talks are resumed, and that means that all rebel groups, as well as the government, must go to these talks. It means, secondly, that there's got to be a ceasefire, and the violence on all sides has got to stop. And it means, thirdly, that the efforts at reconciliation have got to lead to a political settlement that means that the rights of people who have now been dispossessed are upheld.
As the Premier speaks, celebrities are participating in a protest against the war, reminding people of the suffering of the people of Darfur, especially its children. Stars cut apart children's toys and smashed dolls' houses during a photo shoot. It was all meant to symbolise the need for these children to regain their childhood.